So the new atheists, there's no doubt that they're out to proselytize their faith, to evangelize the masses into their enlightened way of looking at the world. Hitchens and Harris and Dennett and Dawkins, they're very clear in what their goal is. And if I open The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins, his goal is, if this book works as I intend, religious readers who open it will be atheists when they put it down. Now, I don't have a problem with proselytizing or evangelizing, sharing with vigor your worldview. I have no problem with that. If you really, really believe something, then of course that makes absolute sense. But I picked up a Wired magazine article. This goes back to November 2006, and you can search it on Google yourself. And it reads as follows right here: "But the atheist movement by his lights," meaning this is speaking of Dawkins, "has no choice but to aggressively spread the good news. Evangelism is a moral imperative. Dawkins does not merely disagree with religious myths, he disagrees with tolerating them, with cooperating in their colonization of the brains of innocent tykes. Quote, 'How much do we regard children as being the property of their parents?' Dawkins asks. It's one thing to say people should be free to believe whatever they like, but should they be free to impose their beliefs on their children? Is there something to be said for society stepping in? What about bringing up children to believe manifest falsehoods?" End quote. See where Dawkins is going here? At one point, these so-called enlightened ones, the ones that have the truth scientifically, philosophically, even theologically, have what? The right to step in and what? Take children away from their parents? Do you see where he's going here with this pretty outlandish statement? That at one point, those who are smart have the ability to step in and remove children from those who are somehow not smart, these fundamentalist, throwback, superstitious, fuddy-duddy parents? Of course, Wired magazine goes on and says, "Dawkins is the inventor of the concept of the mem, that is, a cultural replicator that spreads from brain to brain like a virus. Dawkins is also a believer in democracy. He understands perfectly well that there are practical constraints on controlling the spread of bad memes. If the solution to the spread of wrong ideas and contagious superstitions is a totalitarian commiserate that would silence believers, then the cure is worse than the disease. But such constraints are no excuse for the weak-minded pretense that religious viruses are trivial, much less benign. Bad ideas foisted on children are moral wrongs. We should think harder about how to stop them." Crazy stuff. Sure, Wired magazine steps in and says, "Hey, don't go too far, Dawkins. You can't start ripping kids out of homes and putting them into state-run facilities just because their parents are teaching them stuff you don't believe in." But then Wired magazine goes on and says, "Yeah, even though that's extreme, at one point we should come up with some concepts to spread this new enlightened thinking around our society." Crazy times we live in.